Today we're talking about the FeiyuTech AK4000. That's this guy right here, capable of holding up to 8.8 pounds or 4,000 grams. So this is going to fit your traditional DSLR, mirrorless cameras, and even some cinema grade cameras. A gimbal is built to stabilize your footage. So for those of you who are sick and tired of either using a manual stabilizer or just want to switch up your footage to be much smoother, then a gimbal is the right tool for you. The FeiyuTech AK4000 is made out of an aluminum alloy material. It has a rubberized grip, and it looks like most traditional gimbals out there. We have a lowered roll motor, which allows you to get full coverage of your camera's viewfinder. And what makes this gimbal stand out is its large touchscreen, which allows you to change not only camera parameters, but gimbal parameters as well. The AK4000 is powered by 4 18650 batteries. They are stored in the gimbal's handle. All we have to do is unscrew the bottom, open up the battery compartment door, and slip in the batteries. One thing I don't like about this design is that this battery door feels flimsy and it might break over time. If that battery door breaks, you won't be able to keep your batteries in the gimbal properly and it won't power on. Regarding battery life on the gimbal, we get approximately between 10 to 12 hours. Of course, this can change depending on your payload. Towards the top of the gimbal, we have our touchscreen, and we have 4 buttons and a joystick. We have the power switch, mode switcher, picture taking, and video recording button. And along with this gimbal, we do get an included case. It's styrofoam and it's gonna hold your battery charger, your batteries, your gimbal, and an optional extension tube for the gimbal. This extension tube is especially important for those of you who like to get low angle shots. This will prevent you from crouching over and possibly hurting your back. I actually really do like this extension tube, and it's also carbon fiber, so it's pretty light. We also have a tabletop tripod. I've been using this gimbal on a few of my professional shoots, workout videos specifically, and it handled pretty well. There were a few bumps in the footage. Sometimes the gimbal would flip out whenever I wanted to go into inverted mode. We'll talk more about that in just a moment, but overall it performed pretty well. Balancing and mounting my camera on the AK4000 was very similar to that of the DJI Ronin S. I did struggle to adjust the roll arm and even the pitch arm. There was friction in the adjustment arms, making it pretty tricky to adjust. So that means you constantly have to use both hands when balancing this gimbal. The touchscreen, however, is what really stood out on this gimbal. It allows you to adjust camera parameters, gimbal parameters, shooting modes, and it allows you to adjust how much payload you have on the gimbal. This will change the amount of torque that is applied to each motor. There are also 3 preset shooting modes that adjust the sensitivity of the motors: default, smooth, and action. Action will get you those quick responses from the gimbal's motors. And right from the touchscreen, you even have the option to set your time-lapse parameters. You can also program the focus dial. Since I didn't have the focus motor, I wanted to use it to help with my tilt and panning moves. And you can allow it to control your roll moves as well. The touchscreen is very sensitive. Luckily, FeiyuTech put a lock button on the side of the gimbal's handle, which locks up the touchscreen from accidentally being touched. The gimbal can also connect to your smartphone via Bluetooth, and it can actually connect to your camera via Wi-Fi. FeiyuTech states that you can also control camera settings via Wi-Fi, but I haven't really been able to set that up successfully. Similar to the Ronin S, on the back of the gimbal's handle, we have a reset trigger. This will automatically recenter the camera. Let's talk about some of the shooting modes. We have half follow, which allows you to control the pan but locks the tilt. We have tilt follow, where the gimbal will follow your tilt and pan movements. We have all follow, which actually allows you to control roll, tilt, and pan, and it even does this when you flip the gimbal upside down. And we have lock mode. This will prevent the gimbal from moving on the tilt, pan, or roll axis. By clicking on the power button, you will activate the roll function, and this will make the gimbal follow your roll movements up to a 45-degree angle, so you can get shots like this. However, I was not able to figure out how to get vortex mode, and that is 360-degree barrel rolls on this gimbal. Now let's get into the fun stuff, the cinematic footage and the raw footage. Before we get started, I do want to make sure that you understand that Make Art Now is not the only person that has AI in his videos. I've got Linda. Linda, roll the clips.
Alright, momentous. Generating cinematics.
Now those shots were shot at 30 frames per second, no post stabilizer was added. There was one slow-mo clip, but that was about it. Now let's talk about some of the raw footage. I was testing out a few different focal lengths, and I was walking and running. Here's 24, 50, and 70. 24 looked good, 50 also looked good, but when we got to 70, there were some micro jitters. When we were running, 24 looked good, 50 looked decent, and 70 looked unusable. This gimbal did underperform when running and when using telephoto lenses. Compared to, let's say, the Zhiyun Crane 2 or Zhiyun Crane 3, this did not do as well. However, the wider focal lengths and even up to 50mm, it did pretty well. So my honest opinions about this gimbal, it's a good gimbal. Is it the best? No. Is it the best for the money? Debatable. I do think there are some performance issues with this gimbal, especially when trying to go into inverted mode. It just doesn't like it. There were so many times when I tried to go into inverted mode and it just didn't work out for me. Also, when using 50 and 70mm focal lengths, it was very difficult for me to get smooth shots when tracking or walking. However, when replicating a slider or parallax shots, I did get pretty nice performance. There is still definitely room for improvement on this gimbal. Whether it is hardware or software, I do think they can definitely improve. So if you guys like this gimbal, go ahead and check out the link for it in the description box below. Also, don't forget to give this video a big like and subscribe with those notifications turned on, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace!